Hello, I'm EG and this is Crocheting with EG. And in this video I have a make. I finished my mom's throw blanket, the one that I made her as an early Mother's Day present. And so I'll show that, and I already gave it to her and she loved it. And I also crocheted this long strip of crochet to wrap around it like a bow, and so I'll show that too. There's a funny story behind that, but it's really funny. But anyway, so I'll show that. And then I did get some yarn from Hobby Lobby. I got some on the shipment day, but then they also had a couple skeins like 2 days before the shipment day, so I got those too. Because I'm just so desperate. I don't have hardly any yarn. What's weird is that cube up there with the yarn that I used to make my mom's throw blanket is practically empty. So it's weird. I mean, I have yarn in previous hauls that I haven't put away yet to fill that gap, but it's weird that those cubes are empty. But anyway, so I do have the yarn from these two hauls, and then just a bunch of random stuff that has nothing to do with yarn or crochet or whatever. But I'll start with the blanket. But again, this is the EG Stitch flower. I still need to do a tutorial of this, how I did this. But this is the little flower that I left on top of it for my mom. And so this is like a little bonus gift that I made her. And then, so what I did was, I'll show a picture. I took a picture of it. I folded the blanket, and I wanted to have some kind of bow around it. And so I used the same yarn, the Yarn Bee True Colors. And it was one of the skeins that I didn't use in the blanket. And so I wanted to use some of that to make a bow. And so I made this really long strip in my EG Stitch, and then I wrapped it around the blanket, and I put a little bow on. And so I had it all like in this pretty little bundle with the bow on it, and then the flower on top. And of course she just loved it. And so when I woke up, she was like under the blanket, like it's already getting kind of hot, like especially today. It's like the humidity is really high, and we're supposed to be getting some storms and stuff, but kind of like already sweating. And I barely started this video, but anyway, but I was giving her the blanket or whatever. And we're slowly getting into spring and stuff, but she was like underneath the blanket, and then she had this what she did was she had it around her neck like a necklace, which was funny. So she kind of had it like this, I think, and then she like turned it around like this, and then had the bow kind of down here like this. And so she was like underneath the blanket, and then she had this like wrapped around her neck like a necklace or whatever. And when it's like getting warm and everything, we're getting out of winter and getting into spring, and there she was like under some really thick, really soft and warm blanket, and then she had this like wrapped around her neck like a scarf. But she just loved it so much, and so she just couldn't get over that, because she didn't know I was making this throw blanket, and she just loved it. She freaked out. And so this is the blanket, and I used all of the skeins that I showed in a previous video, and I would like unwrap this thing, but I did take videos, and if it worked out alright, I might use it as a short too, or I probably already did in the future, because it's March as I'm filming this. But maybe around Mother's Day I'll put out the short or whatever of the blanket. I don't know. But so this is the blanket, and then I'll put in like an insert shot of like what this looks like all laid out, so that you can see the pattern that I use with all the different skeins of this yarn. I mean, it turned out so nice, and I love how my stitch looks in this yarn. It's kind of shiny and soft, and like working with this was so nice. And I mean, I wish I had more. I wish this yarn stretched more, because in just like a standard throw blanket size, one skein only equals like 4 rows, and so it doesn't stretch as far as I thought it would. And so I need to figure out something to do with all the other skeins that I have left. Because what I was going to do in my head was use because some of the skeins are like kind of fall colors, and I was thinking of like using those for like a fall blanket in the future. But then when I did this, and I had to pull from those existing skeins that I sort of had set aside in my head for that, now I have these skeins that I know aren't going to equal a blanket, because of how it doesn't stretch as much as I thought it would. So I'm going to have to figure out something else to do with those other skeins. But this just turned out so nice, and she just loved it. And I love that I got to give my mom a blanket. I mean, it's not the one that I originally intended to give her. I'm still working on that, of course. I'll get it done eventually. I mean, hopefully it won't take me like 10 years to get that blanket done, because I'm using single crochet and everything. I mean, I do have all the yarn for it. It's just like a lot of work to make a blanket in single crochet. But I'm glad that I got to give my mom a blanket, and it's also one with my stitch in it, so it's kind of more personal. So in that aspect, it's kind of a better like my arm is like falling down just because of how heavy this is. I mean, it is like a really, I mean, it's just a throw blanket size. I think it's 50 inches by 60 inches. It's just a throw blanket size, but this is like really heavy just because of how thick this yarn was. I think I had to use a 9mm crochet hook for this yarn. It is like really bulky and nice. And she said that it's really warm and everything, so she just loved it. And I'm glad I got to give her that blanket. But that's the make in this video. And before I show the yarn, I'll show these puzzles because I went into Hobby Lobby. It was one of the days when I didn't get any yarn. I went in there to get some poster boards to put on the back of these puzzles because my mom and I are putting together these puzzles. And I can't remember if I showed this in a video or not because I filmed so damn many videos. That's probably what you're thinking. I mean, I say damn many videos, but you're probably thinking that same thing. God, another damn video. No, I'm glad that you enjoy my videos, but you know what I'm saying. I do have a super thanks, so obviously you do enjoy my videos. But I'll show the little chain that I made. But I can't remember if I showed this in a video or not. I showed the puzzle, like the box, but I can't remember if I showed the put together puzzle or the puzzle that's put the put together puzzle. The puzzle that's put together, the final whatever. God, I'm such a mess. But this puzzle right here, I can't remember if I showed this in a video or not. I know I showed the box before this was put together. But I put this together, and then I put the poster on the back of that. And then my mom and I put these two together. I put one together, my mom put the other one together. These are the puzzles that I got when I bought that stuff online with my second YouTube payment. So there's this puzzle, and a really adorable puzzle. And then this one that's long ways, like this. And so they turned out so nice. And it was so much fun making these puzzles. And the good thing about these smaller puzzles is it doesn't take very long. Like, we probably finished these in like an hour. And it took longer to glue the back of these things than it did to actually put them together. But I just put like poster board on the back of them. So I have these three puzzles, and then I have that one with the white kitten and the big pink ball, and then that big puzzle that my mom and I did, you know, the knitting kittens, and then that one that I got at Goodwill that has the two white kittens in the basket. And so like those are all put together and all glued and have the cardboard on the back. And I just need to hang them up in my wall. But I'm gonna save all that stuff for when I reorganize my room and like put my halls away, and then like add extra storage and do all that stuff. And I'm already thinking like it's going to be like a really big job too, because when I reorganize my wall, I don't want to go through the effort of doing all of that and then leave this stuff, like, because behind this wall there are closets, or there's a closet here, and then on this side there's a closet, and then on top there are these or it's like this two-door thing, and like this tiny little shelf. And I want to get all that stuff out of there. Like on this side, it's like the stuff for my yard sale, or just some of the stuff from my yard sale. And because I thought, oh, that'd be a good place. This is like before I, had like this, really full wall. I was thinking, oh, I could just like put all the yard sale stuff in this closet, because it was like in the winter or like whenever it was, and I put all this stuff together. And then I could just like move my shelf. This is like when I had like a small wall. I could just like move my shelf when I have the yard sale, and then just like get all that stuff out, and then just like move it back. But it's like before it became like the entire wall. And so now there's like some yard sale stuff behind there, and I think there's like 2 memory boxes in the top of that closet. And then on this side, I think I got all the stuff out of the top of the closet on this side. It was like my mom's old yarn and some of her old sewing stuff. And so I had gotten that out that one time when I needed to get the little patch that my mom sewed on my brother's blanket for Christmas, that said her name and said made with love by her, all that. I had to get that little patch out, so I had to move some of my shelf just to get into that. And so I got all the stuff out of the top, but then in the bottom, like the really long closets, the closet on this side, who cares? You're probably thinking, okay, blah blah blah, get onto the yarn. But on this side, it's like the bar, like that kind of closet. And then on this side, it's like these 2 doors that open up, and there are all these shelves. And what's on those shelves? When my niece was little and she would come over here and we would watch her all the time, we used to buy her all these snow globes, because she loves snow globes. And so every time we go to Goodwill, we'd find a snow globe, and we would buy all these snow globes. And so we have all these snow globes and like on that shelf. And so there's probably like 30 or 40 of those snow globes, and they're really pretty and stuff, but I don't really know what to do with them other than just to leave them in there. But if it's going to be a pain in the ass to like get into these closets or whatever, because of all this yarn that I have, and I don't really intend to use those closets other than like storage for like long-term storage, then I should just like get all that stuff out. Just like take this opportunity when I reorganize this room and expand all the storage and put all my hauls away and all that. Since I'm going to be doing that and like changing the yarn and all that kind of stuff here and making room for the knickknacks on this shelf or like all that, I need to just like, and I want to do an inventory and everything. What I need to do is just like, it's going to be a series of videos. It's going to be like a really long kind of drawn out process, because it's going to take so long. I need to just like take all of this stuff off, like take down my wall just to get in the closets back there, clear that out, and then put it back up. And then maybe the whole process of doing that will jumpstart the whole organization process, because I'm going to have to move all this stuff anyway just to get into the closets and everything. And then that will kind of, well, since I have to do that anyway, then that'll be like the perfect excuse, and I can do an inventory and like really organize my yarn and like put yarns together and all that kind of stuff and utilize the space better. So that's going to be a whole process too, just like having to move all that just to get in there, and then I have to like put it back up and then rebrace it, and it's going to be a whole big process. But yeah, that's going to be in the future. And that's why I keep putting it off, because it's not just like, that's why I haven't done any videos lately about like, oh, I'm putting my hauls away, because it's not as easy as like, oh, I'm just gonna like put some on this shelf and this shelf and that. It's like I already have in my head like what I need to do in this room and what I want to do, and like not just like put hauls away. It's like I want to expand the storage, and I want to decorate and like move stuff around, and like hang up all the different the puzzles and things like that, and like and do an inventory. It's a whole big process, and so that's why I sort of like keep putting it off or whatever. But these puzzles are going to be one of the things I'm going to be putting up in my room, and like my clock, I'm going to have to put that on the wall, just kind of have it leaning over there, and things like that, And I want to make the crochet panels to like go on these white shells, like I said, with like the 6 colors, and then like over here, I already put this the granny square strip over here. I don't know if you noticed that, but I just kind of like laid it here because I wanted to put it somewhere, so I just kind of like laid it there. But you can barely see it or whatever. But I wanted to make that 6 color strip to go right there, and then one for over there on the other side of my room, and like finish the runners to go underneath the flag boxes, and so it's like this whole big process. It's just like this constant thing in my head, like this checklist of like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this, I want to do that, but it's just like it's getting so really long, and so there's like so many things on it, and so that's why I haven't done it yet, because it's going to be like a really long process. But anyway, like me trying to get to a point when I'm like talking in a video. Anyway, so where was I in the story? I was showing the puzzles and then went off on like 50 tangents. What else is new? So anyway, the story about the day when I went into Hobby Lobby to get those posters is they didn't have any yarn or whatever, and I was going through the line at the front of the store, and then all of a sudden, like one of the managers, the guy that made that joke that one day when I was out in the front of the store, and he said, and I like went for a cart that he was getting ready to put in the store, and he said, oh, I left one out for you because I knew you were coming. That guy, like he was like hauling ass like out of the door. It was just like it totally freaked me out, because I was like, what the hell's going on? He was just like running like some maniac or whatever out the door, and I didn't know what was going on. And so my mom didn't go into the store that day, because I was just going in there to get some poster boards, and I wasn't expecting to find any yarn. And so she just like stayed in the car for the 5 minutes I was in there, and so she saw more of like what happened when he ran out the door. But I was like walking out to the car, finally finished paying for the posters, and I was like going out to the car, and then all I heard was him screaming, and he goes, "Don't ever come back here!" And then I heard this like car screech out of the parking lot, and so like I didn't really know what was going on. All I saw was him like run in front of me when I was in the line in the store, and then hear that at the end of it. And so my mom said that like what happened was in front of him, like I didn't see this woman running, but I guess there was a woman that ran out of the store first, and then he was running after her. She must have stolen something or whatever, because my mom said that he ran up to her and then asked to see her purse, and he was like going through her purse or whatever, because like she must have like put something in her purse. And then a car screeched in and opened the door, and then that woman like jumped in, and then it like screeched out of the parking lot, and then that's when he said, "Don't ever come back here." And so I guess she must have been in the middle of stealing something, whatever. But the only reason I'm saying this is because I was joking to my mom later that thank God that I wasn't. It wasn't a shipment day, and I wasn't coming out of there with a bunch of yarn, and that all of that happened like ahead of me, because I told her, can you imagine like what would have went through my head if I was it was like a shipment day, and I was walking out of there with like these giant bags full of yarn, and then all of that commotion was happening. All that commotion was God, I really feel like I'm getting old. All that commotion was happening behind me, and then all of these footsteps were like running my direction. I would have panicked. I told her that like I would have started panicking, because I would have thought like, oh my God, this is it, someone's gonna stab me in the neck with a knitting needle. Like if I heard like all these footsteps just like running towards me behind me, and I like was holding all these bags of yarn, and then all of a sudden hearing some guy say, "Don't ever come back here," I would have been like, I probably would have dropped it or something. I probably would have panicked and stuff. I'm probably like, I'm sorry, I got enough yarn, I won't come back here. I don't know, but it was just like this ridiculous random thing. But it was just really funny in my head just to imagine like what would I have done if that would have happened behind me. And so thankfully all of that that happened in front of me, and like before I went out into the parking lot, because I probably would have panicked like an idiot. The employees probably would have played back the security footage later just to make fun of my ass, because they probably would have seen me in the parking lot going like this, like an idiot, when it was like it had nothing to do with me at all. That was just like a totally random thing. And then because I was thinking about the puzzles, I went to Michael's and to look through their puzzle. I did go to Dollar Tree, they didn't have anything, and I did go to Goodwill, they didn't have anything, and Target. I mean, they have puzzles and stuff, they didn't have any with yarn. But I went into Michael's, and they do have one that they do have one. Like talking about being old. That was me subconsciously trying to hold on to my youth. I was talking about how old I was earlier, and that was my body saying, "No, you're not old. Listen to you," lying to myself, acting like I'm young. Anyway, so I went into Michael's, and I was looking at their puzzles, and they did have one that had cats on it, and but a little bit of yarn. But there was so few little skeins and balls or whatever in the. I think I took a picture of it. I can't remember. I don't remember what I've taken pictures of with my phone or whatever. And sometimes I feel like, oh, I took a picture of it, and then look later and I think, the hell I did. So I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out how to work that damn phone. I'm just so used to not having a cell phone. I hate having to use one of those things. But see, now, this is the real me. I am old. Forget what my body is acting like. But anyway, so I don't know if I took a picture of it or not, but it was kind of cool to see a puzzle that had some cats and some little balls of yarn or whatever on it, but it just wasn't worth it, the money. They did have a Snow White one, but I think it was like $17 or $18 or something, or it was just like a little too expensive. But I feel like I want to go back and get that puzzle for my mom, because it's a really pretty Snow White puzzle, and she loves Snow White. It's like her favorite Disney movie of all time, and so I feel like I want to get that puzzle for her. But I did get a Lion King one, which I'll show. And then we do have all those puzzles to put together that I got online when I got my second YouTube payment. So we already have a whole lot of puzzles, so I didn't want to like commit to like another puzzle, but I just feel like I want to get it from my mom, that Snow White one, but I just didn't get it right now. But I feel like I'm going to go back and get that Snow White puzzle. I did go to Family Dollar to see if they had any puzzles, and their toy section is very small. I don't know why they barely have any toys anymore. I mean, what makes me feel like they don't have any toys, because like maybe they're worried about theft or something, because like I don't know if this is a completely random tangent. I swear I'm going to get to the yarn. Just skip ahead if you don't care about all this. All this. What I was about to say, that is what it is. But anyway, just skip ahead. But in Family Dollar, they're starting to put these big poles on the top of their shopping carts, which is kind of ridiculous. I was thinking, like, what the hell is this big pole on the top of it? Looking at it, you just imagine there should be like a flag on it or something. It's just kind of weird. And then I realized it because I was looking around online and thinking, like, why the hell are these big poles on the shopping carts? And it's because they're worried about theft and like people taking the carts and stuff. And I guess because if they have like a big pole on the top of it, you can't push it out the door. What flashed in my head is those videos where dogs have those big sticks in their mouths or whatever, and they're like trying to go through a fence or a doorway or something, and then they eventually realize, oh, if I just turn this way, then it'll go through the my head will go through the thing with the stick. It's kind of like that. It's like, do the people that run Family Dollar, do they not realize that like homeless people or thieves or whoever they think's gonna steal their freaking carts are like smarter than dogs? Like, if a dog can get a stick through a doorway just by like turning to the side, somebody's gonna figure out how to get a cart out of the doorway with a big pole on top of it. It just seems kind of stupid and just like obnoxious, but whatever. And so I went into Family Dollar, and all that to say, but they did have a Snow White coloring book, one of these like advanced coloring books, with like some of them are like really easy to color, and but some of them are like those really detailed pictures and stuff. But I got this for my mom because I thought it was like a really cool Snow White coloring book to go with her collection. This was only $3, but they didn't have hardly any toys or puzzles or anything. So but I did check in there. So like I said, I went into Hobby Lobby. It was 2 days before the shipment date, and they had 7 skeins in there. So of course I got those. One of these Yarn Bee Effortless Super Bulky in the color Blush, and I mean, it's one of those. It's not like the really soft kind like the Delphinium or whatever. See, like it's really nice, and you can tell like the alpaca kind of coming out of it, but it's one of those that's going to match all those other ones that I have that isn't really like extra soft like those Delphinium ones are. This is regular $8.99, and so I got it for $2.24. It's kind of like a I didn't even say the colorway name. Oh yeah, I did, dumbass. Blush, and so it's kind of like a really light pink color, almost like a really light rosy pink color. And so $2.24 for that. And then they had 2 skeins of the I Love This Cotton, and it's a really pretty buttery yellow color. It's the color Buttercup, and both of these are Buttercup. So these are regular $3.99. Got it for 99 cents. So it's like this really pretty yellow color, and a soft and sleek chunky, and the color, what is it? Cinnamon. Spice. I knew it was something like that. I'm trying to like memorize, just from my ridiculous ass. Maybe it's like the game show watcher in me, but I'm trying to like, memorize these colorway names. Just to, like, try to figure them out before I look at it. But it's called Spice. It's kind of like a cinnamon color. And so this was a regular $4.99. Got it for $1.24. And then I love this yarn print and the color Drizzle Me This. So it's that like speckled yarn I've gotten before in other previous hauls. Like the base of it is kind of this really light pink color and has all these really vibrant speckles in it. Red and orange and purple, and I really do. I love how this works up too. It's the same yarn that I used to make my niece's slap bracelet. The one that she used in it was a previous video where I went out to her house for our birthdays and my brother and my birthday, and she showed me that she had made a scrunchie with this yarn right here. So there's that one, and then I love this yarn print and the color Orange Zest. So it's one of those twisted yarns with all the different colors in it. Kind of reminds you of those Premier Mosaic colorways, and so like practically every color you can think of, orange and red and green and yellow, and just all these different colors. And then this colorway, I can't remember if I've gotten this before. I don't think I have, because I have all my metallic yarns together up here on the shelf, and I don't have this. I love this yarn print and the color Lilac Stardust. Like, I don't know why they don't have more variegated skeins with a metallic strand in it. I mean, they do have metallic yarns and stuff, and like I said, most of the metallic yarns in Hobby Lobby are like the solids with like a silver strand in it, which is pretty. But like, I love the metallic yarns where the strand matches the actual yarn. But I don't know why people don't make more variegated skeins with a metallic strand in it. I mean, the solids are really pretty, but like this is like I don't know if it's like variegated or just like a stripy yarn. It's kind of like an ombre effect the way it looks in the skein, but it has this really delicate, really thin metallic strand in it. I mean, the colorway name should be something like, Fairy Stardust or something, not Lilac, because it just sort of reminds you of like something that it feels like this is the kind of yarn where my niece would love something made with this. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like a really delicate metallic strand in it. It's kind of a goldish color, but it's like it's thinner than the metallic strands that are usually in these yarns. But all these, they're kind of pastel looking colors, but it's a really pretty skein. But see how you see, it kind of reminds you of like, it should be Fairy Stardust. That's what it's going to be in my head. But pinks and blues and greens and kind of like an ombre effect. Like, if you look at the way that the color changes, it almost changes in kind of an ombre effect. But it's not like an I Love This Yarn ombre. That's just what it kind of reminds me of. And so that's the haul that I got on the first day. And I'll show the other yarn that I got, even though this is a different day. And I got some other things in between all that stuff. But I'll show the yarn. So these are the skeins that I got on the shipment day. I went in there on one trip, and then they were still working around there. They weren't done putting the yarn on the shelves. And then I went in there on the second trip. They had it in the remnants. And so I got all the skeins. Baby Bee Snugs and Kisses in the color Sunny Season. One of those, like, sunny yellow kind of plush yarns. Regular $8.99. Got it for $2.24. So it's just like this pretty yellow. This is going my niece as well for her. And then this one too. Baby Bee Snugs and Kisses in the color Teddy. And this would be like the perfect yarn if she gets an amigurumi, like the perfect kind of yarn to make a little plushie of like a, or an amigurumi of like a little teddy bear, because it is kind of like a teddy bear brown color. And so this was $8.99. Regular $8.99. Got it for $2.24. I'd never spend $8.99 because I'm so damn cheap. And then I love this yarn and the color Orchid. It's just a really pretty purple color. Kind of like a pinkish purple. Really light purple color. And then Yarn Bee Simply Flawless. This has to be anti-pilling yarn. Low pill acrylic. Although it feels a little bit thin. Yeah, light 3. So it's like a light 3. But it's one of those low pill acrylic skein. This black right here, this like, blocking the thing. God, how stupid. Regular $6.99, got it for $1.74. And then they had some pearl spun. 2 skeins of the Yarn Bee Pearl Spun in the color Hazy Hazel. Kind of like a rosy pink if you mixed a little bit of a purple in it. It's kind of like that. A little like a coppery rosy pink. So these were regular $3.99, got it for 99 cents a piece. I mean, I love how this yarn is. I mean, just how tightly twisted it is. It's so nice. It's so nice and soft too. And then I love this yarn ombre in the color green camo. So it's kind of like camouflage colors, green and brown and a little bit of ivory color mixed in. And so this was all these were regular $4.99, got it for $1.24. And then, now I'm like thinking about the old joke that I have about this. Back when the yarn had that cinnamon smell in it, because the cinnamon smell in the store, and I made that joke about, just don't breathe deep because you're gonna choke to death with the cinnamon smell. but this was regular $13.99 and got it for $3.49. I mean, that's a lot for, I mean, it is really heavy. And the way the yarn is, I don't know like the specific name for the way this yarn is like all twisted up or wound up or anything. But it's the kind of yarn that it's never gonna snag on the hook just because of how it's almost like a material. But I got that one. And then Yarn Bee Soft Secret in the color violet, really vibrant purple. God, this was one of the ones that was regular $4.99, got it for $1.24. And then a Baby Bee Sweet Delight in the color Sugar Plum, like a really light purple color. So like if you compare, see how light the purple is. So there's that one, like one of those soft baby yarns. A regular $5.99, got it for $1.49. And then I love this cotton in the color Bruschetta. Kind of like a pumpkin orange sort of color. And so there's that one. This was 99 cents too. And then a Yarn Bee Velvety Smooth Aran in the color Spa. So it's like that spa green, like bluish sort of green color. And that really thin chenille yarn. Regular $4.99, got it for $1.24. And then they had one of these. I went ahead and got this because I thought, you know, if I'm getting all these, am I really just going to leave like this one skein? So I thought I can, you know, put this on my niece's wall. Yarn Bee Mini Maker in the color pink. And so this was regular $1.29, which is ridiculous. Because like these skeins used to be $1, and so of course I'm cheap and I'm used to getting like full size skeins on clearance for $1.24. But like I can't imagine buying this, you know, regular price for $1.29 or even 99 cents. Because like I said, this yarn is like really cheap feeling. Because it is cheap yarn. But I got it for 32 cents. So that's gonna go on my niece's wall. Just like a little extra pop of color on her wall. And then the last two are these. I love this cotton. This is the color gold, really a pretty gold color. This is 99 cents too. And then this one, like a variegated skein called City Beat. Really nice colors. It's a little bit of a stonewash look to the colors. But there's some peach and yellow and some blue and maybe like some grayish color mixed in too. A really nice variegated skein of that. So that's the haul from that day. And the rest of the stuff is really just kind of random stuff. There's a couple yarn related things. Let me do the super thanks thing. So I got another super thanks from Jody Belton 625. And so I had some of this purple left from the flower that I made my mom, and so it'd be kind of cool to like make her one with that yarn. And so I chained 10, you know, for Jody. And so I'm gonna put it in my little super thanks thing. That's another thing I want to, you know, organize. When I organize my room, I want to hang that up, and it's like, because I just have like leaning up here on this shelf. But I want to hang this up in a proper place so that this is, you know, behind me in the video. This, you know, ridiculously beautiful super thanks thing that I made. And so I made a little chain for you, Jody. Thank you so much for the super thanks. And so there's your your chain. This is like utterly ridiculous, but I love this so much. This is like the perfect kind of representation of like, you know, who I am as a creative person, and who I am as like a crocheter and stuff. I mean, I make a lot of traditional things and stuff, but like the things I make are like more off the wall kind of things like this, and it's just, this better reflects me as like a creative person to make something like this. I mean, I do love the traditional kind of things, you know, hats and scarves and blankets and things like that, but I do like the majority of the things that I've made are like really kind of off the wall stuff, and that's the most fun that I have when I crochet, when I, you know, come up with like weird things like this. But I do love this. But this is another thing, I want this to be like, you know, shown prominently in my video. So when I organize this room, that's going to be like one of the things, like one of my priorities, to like find a place so that this is like in the video behind me, so that, you know, you can see that. But thank you again, Jody, for the super thanks. And I'll show this because this is kind of yarn related. But I went into Ollie's and looking for yarn. Of course, they didn't have any. But they had more of like the Joanne stuff. And they had this thing there. And it was like in the front of the store. I don't know how long it had been there, because like when I go into the store, I was like going on this side of that little square shelf. But when I was leaving the store, there were like people in the way. And like I'm not the kind of person that, oh, excuse me. I'll like, you know, go like, you know, way out of my way just like walk around people, because I don't want to have to talk to people. And so I would rather do that than to just say, oh, excuse me. And so I like went around this shelf, and so I was like on the other side of the shelf for the first time, like the one at the front of the store, one of those square shelves. And then I saw this sitting there, and I thought, holy crap. I mean, I don't know how long it had been there, but it's obviously a Joanne leftover. But it's this, I'll show the base first. But it's like this little cat. It's like, oh, adorable little cat. What is this, like a soap dish? No, it's for this. And it's like a big yarn ball, and what's even cooler, it's a glowing yarn ball. I mean, I know I look like a total idiot getting so excited over a little glowing ball. It looks like a ball of yarn. But I love this. I couldn't believe that they had this. And so, of course, I got this. This is only $3.99 in there. They had some other ones, not with yarn or anything, but this is the only one that with yarn. But they did have some other, like, little, I guess this is like a little lamp that goes on a side table, or I don't know what you put, like a desk lamp. I don't know. Just like a decorative little lamp thing. But see, this is like another thing that's going to go on my wall. I'm going to go through so many damn little batteries or whatever, because it looks like those little watch batteries. God knows how much those are. But I'm going to be replacing those all the time, because I'm going to want to have this on every single time I do a video or whatever. Because it would look so cool to have this, like, you know, glowing ball of light behind me, and it would be like, oh no, it's not a ball of light, it's it's yarn. But whatever. So I got that at Ollie's. And then at Dollar General they had this puzzle, and it's not in the box because we're putting it together, but it's The Lion King. Like, as much as my mom loves Snow White, she also loves the opening scene of The Lion King. I mean, who doesn't? But it's like the best part of the movie. But they had this puzzle, and this was really cool. And so because she loves that opening scene so much, anytime we see anything out, you know, a figurine or some kind of picture with animals, especially the ones where it's like the mother or the father with the baby, we're starting to collect those kind of things for her, because she just loves that, because it makes her think of The Lion King. And so when I saw this puzzle, I thought, I'm going to get this for her, because this is the iconic scene. We've seen Lion King stuff in the stores before, but this is like the iconic scene, you know, where, you know, Rafiki is holding Simba up and all that. You know, the animals are down there, you know, bowing to him and stuff. That's like her favorite part. And so we just had to get this puzzle. And so this was $7.50, but it was worth every penny, because this is like perfect for my mom. But we're working on it now. And so once we get that done, I'll glue it, and then I'll show it in the video if you care about that. It'll be one of the tangents at the end of the video, but I just had to get that for my mom. In Goodwill, I had these two Harry Potter hats. And so this one looks like an owl, like, you know, head wig or whatever. It's a Harry Potter hat. And this one was $2.99, so I got that for, like, as if I need another freaking hat to look ridiculous, but, you know, like that. But I got that for my Harry Potter collection. And then this one, like a Gryffindor hat, so I thought that was really cool. This one was $2.99 too. Just hats that are more for my Harry Potter collection than, you know, for me to wear or whatever. Also because even when I wear like a baseball hat, I have to have one that's like oversized, because my head's so damn big. Also because of all this hair and stuff too. But even if I like buzzed my head like I used to, I still have a big head. But I'm sure these are designed for like kids in mind anyway, so they probably wouldn't even fit on my big head anyway, even if it was normal sized. Oh, and then in the clearance section at Hobby Lobby, they did have this, I'm sure that there was supposed to be another one, but it only had one. No wonder it was clearance. But it was regular $3.99, got it for $1.99. But it's this little hair clip thing with a butterfly on it. I got this for my niece, and so I'll put that with her stuff, so that she's got to put it in her hair and have like a really pretty hair clip with some, you know, jewels and stuff all over it and stuff. So I just got that for my niece. And then in Dollar Tree, I was thinking about that art piece that I want to do, where I make like the 3D looking flat yarn balls and stuff, and I got the canvas for it, and I'm gonna, you know, make the little 3D balls. And I thought it'd be cool to like incorporate some crochet hooks, but I didn't want to use my actual crochet hooks. But when I was going through Dollar Tree, I noticed that they had some plastic ones in there. I can't remember how much these were. Probably not $1.25. I can't remember how much it was. But they had these plastic ones, and I thought I got these mainly, you know, to maybe I'll use these to incorporate them in the art piece. I don't know if it's just going to be a bunch of yarn balls, or if I'm going to do something more creative and, like, you know, kind of like my crocheting with EG logo kind of thing, where, you know, I use a chain of crochet and like spelled out a word. I don't know if I'm going to do something like that on the art piece, and like incorporate some like crochet hooks in it, or I don't know. Maybe it might just look better with just the yarn balls. I don't know, but I'll just decide when I'm doing it. But I haven't even done the actual yarn ball part of it yet. But I've got these hooks, and so they're plastic hooks. I don't know how hard they would be to actually use. Like, there's already, like, if you look in this one, like if you look on this one, like they're like on the very tip of this, when you can't even see in this crappy camera, like on the tip of it, it looks like there's a little thing that would snag the yarn. Like, you'd have to, like, pick it off before you used it. So, I mean, it does look like they're kind of like, you know, crappy plastic hooks or whatever. I mean, I haven't used these, but I prefer like the aluminum ones that I have. I mean, they're cheap ones too, but like I prefer those. So I don't know. I know it is more difficult to use like a plastic hook, but I guess this is good for people that don't have an actual crochet hook. At least they have crochet hooks in there to use with the yarn that they sell. So that's kind of cool. And so I'm going to use these in the art piece maybe. I don't know. It'll all depend. on whether I like the look of it without all of that, or if I want to add something a little extra to it. And then on the day that I got those Harry Potter hats, one of them was half off, but the other one was regular price. But they had this Friends ornament. It's still in the box, like this Hallmark ornament. This was $2.99, and so it looks like the picture frame on their door, and it says, "I'd rather be watching Friends," and I thought that was really cool, and so I got that from my Friends collection. I do have some Friends, a Hallmark Friends ornaments. I do have some other Friends ornaments, but I do have the one that looks like the couch, so that's really cool. And I have one with like the central perk. I think I showed some of it in previous videos, but I can't remember. But I got that from my Friends collection. And I guess the last thing is a Harry Potter thing. It has nothing to do with crochet. So anyway, but it's this art, and it says, "Happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if one only remembers to turn on the light." You know that quote from Dumbledore from Prisoner of Azkaban. And so this was $5.99. It's like this nice wood art. It's another piece of art that I don't really know what to do with right now. I'm just kind of laying it up against all my Harry Potter stuff upstairs, because I have those like really big canvas print posters that I'm not really sure where to put yet. And then I find something like this, but this is really cool. There's a picture of Dumbledore and all that. But I love that they had this. But anyway, that's going to be the end of this video. You're probably thinking, oh, thank God. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe, comment down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Hang on. I'll just cut this out, God. I have to like wipe my sweat away. I should like hold it in my hand like Whitney Houston. And yeah. Like, oh God. Oh God. I really do need to hold this fucking thing like Whitney Houston. Oh my God, how many times do I have to do this in this video? I wanna dance with somebody. Tab number 3. I have nothing. Nothing. God, I'm such a mess. I'm sweating so much. God, no. Okay. It's this art, and it says happiness can be found. Happiness can be found in the darkest of times, and happiness. I think the heat's getting to me if I said happiness.